Ladies and gentlemen, I am back for more pain this week. Last week, my predictions record was an abysmal 6-16. It felt as bad as getting a dick slap from Mac Jones. The next morning, I had a hangover almost as bad as this lady's. And I felt desperate to redeem myself, almost like Colin Kaepernick, leaking his own letter begging the Jets for a job. But ultimately, I have a lot of reasons to feel excited about what the future brings. New picks, new opportunities, and most importantly, Taylor Swift's future breakup tracks about Travis Kelce. Let's get into my picks for week 4 of the NFL season. Be sure to like and subscribe for more NFL content like this. The week starts off with Thursday Night Football. The Detroit Lions travel to Lambeau Field to face the Green Bay Packers, and the Packers are 1.5-point underdogs here. Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers got lucky against the Saints and even failed on this flea flicker trick play. Jordan Love missed this guy big time. Jordan Love almost did the splits. That's gotta hurt. And the Lions are looking great. GM Brad Holmes is looking like a genius for the 2023 draft. Brian Branch was nominated for Defensive Rookie of the Week, and Sam Laporta was nominated for Offensive Rookie of the Week, the tight end. And they defeated the Falcons, which has a decent roster on defense. I am picking the Lions to beat the Packers at Lambeau Field. Packers fans got lucky last week. It ain't gonna happen 2 weeks in a row. And then we have an early toilet bowl of 2 of the shittiest teams in the NFL. And this toilet bowl is gonna be stinkier than a porta potty at a county fair. The Broncos are somehow the 3.5-point favorite against the Chicago Bears, even though they just lost by 50 points to the Miami Dolphins last week. And this led to Denver Broncos fans coping. You had this woman after the game trying to start fights. She couldn't handle the fact that the franchise is going downhill. And the Broncos tackle bulls is pretty much like crying because Denver just loses year after year after year.
Right now, what are the emotions like going through your head personally?
Shit. Shit. It's tired of losing, man. I've been here for 7 years and all I've done is lost.
And Sean Payton is feeling the smoke and getting snappy with reporters.
Third time the team has scored 70 points, over 700.
What's the question? What's the question?
How do you feel about it being
I just finished telling you.
Historically embarrassing.
Next question.
The Broncos are somehow worse than the Bears, who have a defensive coordinator that has been raided by the FBI.
FBI raids Alan Williams, former defense coordinator of the Chicago Bears house.
And somebody is jacking stuff from the Bears. Literally, they lost $100,000 worth of equipment. Only 4 teams in the league are 0-3, Vikings and Panthers, and these 2 teams in this game. And I believe the Broncos will bounce a little bit back and not be nearly as bad as the Bears and get this win against Chicago. So let's get into the other toilet bowl. Vikings versus Carolina Panthers. The Vikings are 3.5-point favorites in this game. And honestly, the Vikings have played some tough teams. The Chargers, you got the Eagles. They got shocked by the Bucs earlier this year. I think they're gonna obviously bounce back against the Carolina Panthers, who got nothing. And then we got an insane AFC East matchup in Buffalo. The Bills are 3.5-point favorites to the Miami Dolphins, who just destroyed the Denver Broncos. And some Dolphins players are already thinking of life after football, like Tyreek Hill, who's let us know what his future endeavors are when he retires.
Nah, when I retire, bro, I really want to be a porn star, though, bro. Like, dead serious. Like, you think I got that?
And the Bills really have not gone against great teams. They faced the Aaron Rodgers-less Jets, the Raiders, and the Commanders. Dolphins have beat tough opponents like the Chargers, like the Patriots. I think the Dolphins win this AFC East matchup. And Cincinnati travels to Tennessee to play the Tennessee Titans, and they open up as a 2.5-point favorites. And we know Joe Burrow has a strained calf, but he's been able to get through it. He's been optimistic. He was able to hold on last week. Ryan Tannehill is someone, on the other hand, who is barely able to hold on to his job right now. All in all, the Titans barely had 90 yards of total offense in their past game against the Cleveland Browns. And Mike Vrabel tried to rally the troops right before they head into the locker, and it just was not working out. A lot of people seem pretty defeated there, and I think the Titans will continue to be defeated against the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals get the W. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers travel to New Orleans to face the Saints, and the Saints are still 3.5-point favorites here, even though it is very unlikely, almost certain, that Derek Carr is not going to play this upcoming week. The Saints have signed Jake Luton off the Panthers practice squad, a quarterback. He is now on the 53-man roster. So because they're using a QB on this roster spot, this just shows that Jameis Winston, the backup, is now going to face his former team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the Buccaneers got brought back to reality, failing against the Philadelphia Eagles last week.
Hey, what did the Bucs do right today? Nothing. What did the Eagles do right? Everything. There you go.
And even though the Saints are losing Carr, they are getting back Alvin Kamara in this game that should have an impact. I think Tampa Bay will continue to decline after having a little high earlier in the season, and the Saints still get the dub with Jameis Winston beating his former team. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 3.5-point favorites, traveling to Houston to play the Texans. And the Steelers have players in all shapes and sizes. You had this player here looking like a freaking giant next to one of the Steelers receivers, Austin. And the Steelers had a lot of home fans in Vegas, but it was a little difficult for them to leave Vegas. They actually got trapped on an airplane for quite some time. But at least while they were stuck on an airplane, they didn't have Russell Wilson doing squats next to them. And Steelers fans are still disappointed in offensive coordinator Matt Canada, and that is why Hank from Breaking Bad even got paid to do a cameo calling out the offensive coordinator.
He needs you to get the fuck out of Pittsburgh, okay? Mitch says the Pittsburgh Steelers need to fire Matt Canada. Mitch also says that you ride Mike Tomlin's nuts and you call terrible plays on the offense, so...
But all in all, I don't think Pittsburgh deserves too much respect for barely beating the Raiders last week. I think the Houston Texans, who just upset the Jacksonville Jaguars, will get the victory against the Steelers. And the Commanders travel to face the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Eagles are 8-point favorites in this game. And Eagles fans are getting cocky, especially after the victory against the Buccaneers. You got Eagles fans even messing up the Buccaneers flag at their stadium. They don't give a crap right now. They're riding too high. And I think Eagles fans will continue to celebrate. They got Jalen Carter. Everybody somehow gave the Eagles Jalen Carter, and Eagles fans keep on acting more and more bold. Obviously, the Eagles beat the Commanders. We all know that, right? And the Raiders are in Los Angeles against the Chargers. The Chargers are 6-point favorites in this game, and the Chargers do have some bad news around them. Wide receiver Mike Williams is now on injured reserve, and then you even have J.C. Jackson being a healthy scratch and now having a warrant out there for his arrest. And even though the Chargers have that bad news, the Raiders are still in a worse position with absolutely no hope. Maybe head coach Josh McDaniels will start rookie preseason sensation Aiden O'Connell, since Jimmy Garoppolo will likely be out with a concussion. But knowing how Josh McDaniels is, he's probably going to bring in Brian freaking Hoyer to start. And the Raiders offense struggled so much against the Steelers in this past game, and the refs even tried to help out a little bit. They gave them a generous roughing the passer call by Minka Fitzpatrick. This really didn't look like roughing the passer, but the refs at least wanted to make Sunday Night Football interesting. And Raiders fans are completely robbed right now, robbed of home field advantage thanks to Mark Davis, and they're robbed of a Pro Bowl QB Derek Carr thanks to Josh McDaniels. And now they're literally getting robbed by former players like Keith McGill.
Yo, I want to bring awareness to the situation. I think I'm being scammed by a former Oakland Raider. His name is Keith McGill.
There are allegations surrounding the former cornerback for the Raiders where he's apparently selling fake tickets to fans and then ghosting them. This is absolutely shitty by Keith McGill if it's true. The Chargers finally bounced back last week, and they're going to continue to bounce back, unfortunately, against the Raiders this week. The New England Patriots travel to Dallas to face the Cowboys, who are 6.5-point favorites. And Patriots quarterback Mac Jones made headlines for the wrong reasons last week for dick-tapping sauce Sauce Gardner. This was a viral video. Sauce Gardner got completely upset and even posted some receipts, posted some video proving that Mac Jones did do this to Sauce. The Cowboys not only need to watch out for the dick grabs of Mac Jones, but they got to watch out for the fact that the Patriots may know a lot of their calls because the Patriots have Ezekiel Elliott. He knows a lot of the signals out there with the Cowboys, and also former backup quarterback Will Grier. And the Cowboys got absolutely whooped by the Cardinals last week. Dak Prescott even got called a bum by Cardinals linebacker Kazir White right before Kazir White picked him off. Perhaps it was just a shocking mistake that the Cowboys lost last week. I think they get right against the Patriots this week. The Falcons travel to Jacksonville to face the Jaguars, who are 3.5-point favorites, even though the Jaguars got stunned last week by the Houston Texans. And Bijan Robinson for the Atlanta Falcons has been balling out. The guy is second in NFL rushing so far through 3 weeks of the regular season. And this game is also going to be a home game in London, so the Jacksonville Jaguars are not exactly getting home field advantage here. And even though the Falcons have the better record, they have some great playmakers, I think at the end of the day, the Jacksonville Jaguars, even though they had some setbacks last week, they have the better quarterback, Desmond Ridder. I don't know if this guy's it for the Atlanta Falcons, and Trevor Lawrence is definitely it for the Jaguars. I think they bounce back in this game in London. And then we have a lit AFC North matchup between the Baltimore Ravens traveling to Cleveland to face the Browns. The Browns are 2.5-point favorites in this game. You got Lamar Jackson for the Ravens. You got Deshaun Watson for the Browns. Two quarterbacks who have been trying to be the highest paid for quite some time. And maybe Lamar Jackson is jealous of Deshaun Watson. At the end of the day, got more guaranteed money. We know the Chiefs have Taylor Swift. Well, the Cleveland Browns apparently have Adele. She is a Cleveland Browns fan.
I have to support the Cleveland Browns because that's who my partner's from Cleveland.
And Myles Garrett for the Browns had a monster game last week. And now a lot of people are thinking they're seeing a slimmer version of Myles Garrett. This contestant here on Love is Blind, a lot of people are saying looks a lot like Myles Garrett. Ultimately, I think both of these teams have solid defenses, and this is going to be a close game. But I believe the Cleveland Browns are getting hot, and they have more playmakers on the offensive side of the football. I think the Browns narrowly win this. The Rams travel to face the Indianapolis Colts, and somehow the Colts are 1-point favorites. I don't think Colts fans should be ready to celebrate just because they caught the Ravens slipping and won with Gardner Minshew. The Rams have been very competitive this season, beating the Seahawks, having a close matchup against the San Francisco 49ers and also the Cincinnati Bengals. Puka Nacua is an absolute sensation at wide receiver for the LA Rams. I think the Rams are going to be in every single game they play this year. I think the only way the Colts pull this off is if they are truly better with Gardner Minshew than they would be with Anthony Richardson, who still remains in concussion protocol. But I'm a believer in the Rams. I don't understand why they're not favored here. I picked them to win this game. The Arizona Cardinals travel to face the San Francisco 49ers, and I cannot believe this. The 49ers are 14-point favorites in this game. It makes sense. They've been absolutely dominating, and it seems like the betting markets are thinking that the Cardinals just got lucky against the Cowboys last week. And Joshua Dobbs is the man who was traded right before the season to play quarterback for the Cardinals while Kyler Murray remains on IR. This guy realized the Cardinals did not even have his jersey, and now they finally got his jersey back in stock for the Arizona Cardinals. But I don't think any Cardinals fans are going to be purchasing that, especially after they take a fat L to the San Francisco 49ers this week. And Sunday Night Football, the Kansas City Chiefs versus the New York Jets in New York. Yes, the Chiefs are 9.5-point favorites. You know it. The Chiefs have already been riding high after week 1, and now they got the Taylor Swift bump, a bump to their ratings, a bump to Travis Kelce's jersey sales. Even Bill Belichick is talking about Taylor Swift and the Chiefs.
Where do you fall on that? Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, power couple in the NFL.
Well, I would say that Kelce's had a lot of big catches in his career. This would be the biggest.
And Robert Saleh is combating this Taylor Swift hype, trying to give some of his own hype to Zach Wilson. There's no better way to hype a quarterback up than letting him know you would let him date your daughter. But Jets fans are upset about the fact that Zach Wilson has to be their quarterback. They're taking out their frustration on this kid, and this kid continues to make boneheaded plays. The dude even sacked himself. Dude dude was pretty much sacked by a ghost in this past game.
Seen ghosts.
And it's insane to see the media hype now that Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce. People are cheering about this, but obviously the Chiefs beat the New York Jets, and the Jets continue to be upset about the lack of Aaron Rodgers. And the Seattle Seahawks face the New York Giants, who are 1.5-point favorites at home on Monday Night Football. Daniel Jones looks terrified all the time while he is playing on the field for the Giants this year after receiving a fat contract this past offseason. Some people are saying he looks like Sam Darnold seeing ghosts in New York with the Jets. Now Daniel Jones is seeing ghosts with New York with the Giants. And then the Seattle Seahawks, Geno Smith was terrified on his own, allegedly yelling, "Oh my God," before Aaron Donald came at him, and Geno Smith has clapped back against that claim.
I didn't say, "Oh my God." It was not even me in that soundbite. It was actually someone else. I'm not going to say who, but at my expense, obviously, I'll take the brunt of it.
I feel like the Seahawks have held it together after losing to the Rams in week 1, and I believe they have a more complete team than the New York Giants this year. That offense seems like it's slowing down in New York. So I predict the Seahawks to win this game, even though they're the 1.5-point underdog. I took a lot of risks last week, and I suffered because of it. We'll see if I suffer again this week. My name is WiFiWillie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.